I was born into a Christian family, and many of my earliest and fondest memories are connected to the church and learning about Jesus. Some of my first experiences of faith came from attending the Lutheran church with my parents. They volunteered to help prepare the sanctuary before services, and I remember how proud I felt when I was allowed to help light the candles. Even as a child, it felt meaningful to help ready the church for such a beautiful time of worship. I also have warm memories of attending the Lutheran church in Melville, Saskatchewan, with my grandparents. When you walked through the doors, people's faces would light up with joy just seeing you there. I remember feeling so welcomed, like you could come exactly as you were and never be turned away. My grandma also taught me the children's songs she had learned when she was young and showed me how to pray, reminding me that I could talk to God like a friend who listened without judgment and loved me through every good and difficult moment. When my family moved to St. Albert, we began attending an Alliance church. I made friends and felt comfortable sharing openly. Eventually, my parents decided they wanted to be baptized and asked my brother and me to be baptized with them, so our family could commit our lives to God together. My brother and I agreed and began writing our testimonies. I struggled to write mine and poured what I felt in my heart onto the pages. When I showed it to my family, I was told it wasn't good enough and that if I wanted to be baptized, I needed to rewrite it. In that moment, I felt like it was like what was in my heart didn't matter and that there were expectations I was unable to meet. I couldn't bring myself to write another version that felt acceptable, and a few weeks later, I sat in the auditorium watching my parents and brother be baptized while I remained in my seat. That moment shaped me deeply. I began to believe I wasn't worthy and that I wasn't good enough, that Jesus' love was something I had to earn by being perfect. These beliefs led to struggles with body image, low confidence, bullying, and eventually an eating disorder. When I was old enough to choose, I stopped attending church altogether and walked away from Jesus. Everything shifted after the birth of my son in 2020. Navigating life as a first-time mom during COVID, I longed for support and community. My mind drifted back to the warmth I felt in the Lutheran church growing up, and for the first time in years, I prayed. Only days after, I felt strongly that I wanted to have my son dedicated to God. I did so in early 2021, and after my daughter was born, I dedicated her as well. While the church I attended during that time was welcoming, I still didn't feel like I could fully be myself as a single mom. I questioned why God would call me to dedicate my children when I felt so unworthy. In 2024, the kids and I moved to Spruce Grove. It was a major change, but it felt right. Once we settled in, I felt a pull to pray again and ask God for guidance. A few months later, I began visiting churches in the area. Many were wonderful, but none felt like my church. I still struggled with feeling unworthy. Then I found Stony Plain Alliance Church. I began watching services online, and the comments from people watching at home made me relax. They were themselves, and the church engaged with them with such encouragement and warmth. It felt genuine and safe. The first week I attended in person, I was overwhelmed with nerves. All the old voices came back to me saying, "Are you good enough? Will they accept you?" After settling my kids into their classes, I took a deep breath and walked towards the auditorium. At the door, someone greeted me with a warm hug that melted away all my fears. A pastor also introduced herself, told me she was happy I was there, and invited me to stay for the barbecue after the service. So I decided to stay. While standing in line for food, I met another single mom. We sat together, talked, shared our stories, and I realized something important. She wasn't perfect, and yet God accepted her completely. That moment cracked something open in me. I kept coming back every Sunday, and slowly I learned about Jesus again. The Jesus who walked with people, talked with everyone, accepted people exactly as they were, not who others thought they should be. In 2025, there was a week when the church members were encouraged to sit quietly with a Bible verse. During that silence, I felt Jesus speak to me for the first time since childhood. He told me, "You are good enough. You are accepted as you are." I cried and invited Jesus back into my heart, something I had not done since I was a child. Since that moment, everything in my life has begun to shift. I feel more confident, more whole, and more deserving of good things. I no longer feel like I have to settle. I feel like I'm a good mom just as I am. I see more positivity in my daily life, and I trust I can navigate difficult moments. I feel more connected to my children and more equipped to support them. I can see my triggers now, step away when needed, and breathe. Most importantly, I feel Jesus working in my heart, guiding me towards patience, kindness, and the kind of love he lived out on earth.